Hi everybody, this is Terry from Sweet Pea Papers, the Sweet Pea Papers Facebook group, the Junk Journal Tutorials and More Facebook group, and the Junk Journal and Paper Crafts Facebook group. Yes, okay. So I'd like to welcome you to a Woodland Steampunk Spring. This is week 3, and we're going to be doing our journal covers. So already we've done our signatures, we've done embellishments, and now we're going to do the covers, and then next week we're going to do the binding and completing our journal. Okay, and it's hosted by Crafty Dragon Creations and Kreativ Paper Artisan. Now, real quick, the two kits that we're using are Steampunk Woodland Digital Kit and Steampunk Forest Mega Junk Journal Kit. Now that's by Kreativ Paper Artisan, and this is by Crafty Dragon Creations. Both of them are on sale at their shops for 30% off for the month of April. Now, any of these links or sites or anything that I tell you about are going to be linked in the Linktree link below. You just click on that, and then you just click on the button for where you want to go. Okay? And it'll take you right there. Easy peasy. Okay? All right, so that's that. Now, we are having a drawing, and you're going to get the chance to get some prizes. I'm trying to get stuff out of the way here, and I'm trying to be quick. And so there's a couple of rules I'm going to tell you real quick because it has to do with watching this video, and that's how you get into the drawing. So for each of the channels of our collaborators, you must subscribe to the channel. I'm hoping you're subscribed by now. You've already entered twice, right? Like each collaboration video and then comment on each video. So make sure that you do it on all 7 every week. So that's 21 so far that you've watched and that you've commented on and liked. And then that gets you counted for that week. When you get all 4 weeks, and you have to get all 4 weeks, then you are entered into the drawing one time. To get an extra point and to get your name in the drawing twice, post your finished journal pics with the hashtag A Woodland Steampunk Spring by April 30th of 2025 to the Facebook groups of Crafty Dragon Creations and or Kreativ Paper Artisan. Okay, so also like and follow the additional social media platforms like Instagram, Facebook, Etsy, etc. of all of the participants, and make sure to watch everybody's video, of course. And well, you have to win in the drawing, huh? So that's it for that. That's my spiel. This is book cover week. So we actually, there's a possibility we may go over an hour. Just so you know, because our topper takes a hot second. All right, these are the completed signatures. I have 3. So I've got those. And by the time I got done, I had these 3 scraps is all. I think I did pretty good. Amazing. I have no idea how that happened. Okay. So we've got the 3 signatures, and that gives us the size of our cover. So you're just going to take one signature. Now remember, if you have the 8.5 by 11 with just a little bit trimmed off all the way around, then you're going to make a 6 by 9 cover, which is 6 inches wide, 9 inches high for your cardboard. And then everything else is going to be the same that I'm going to show you. This one, however, is that smaller size. Wow. I'm sorry for that big truck or whatever that is outside. So you're going to have to make measurements. So this ends up to be 5 inches wide and 7.25 inches tall. And somehow I think this must be 7.5. Because it came out with 7 3/4. Yeah, 7 1/4. And I always add a little extra because of the binding that I'm using. And if you're not going to use that, you have to wait until next week to find out. then you don't have to make the cover that little smidge extra tall. Okay, so obviously I'm not sewing it. If you're sewing it, then go with your 1/8 of an inch above and below, bigger than the size of the signature. Well, there's the big truck again. I think somebody must be moving, bringing in a big truck. I live in an apartment. And so these are normally 5.5, so that's why you make it 6. And these are going to be a little less than 8.5 when you cut them if they're the normal big size. And so that's why you make it 9. And then you have to do something different for these, like I said. Okay, so they're 5 inches wide. So I made them 5 3/8 inches wide because you don't really need that much sticking out and this part way back inside the cover. Okay, if you have lace, your laces might stick out. You know, I had talked about possibly doing lace and steampunk, and then I changed my mind. And then I ended up with 7 3/4 inches tall for the signature. I measured this and it was a little over 1 3/4 inches tall. Yeah, a little over, but the weight of the cover will hold down this last little bit of, you know, where it pokes up. So 1 3/4 inch spine by 7 3/4 inches tall, and a 5 3/8 by 7 3/4, 2 cardboard pieces. I guess I could show you this. 2 cardboard pieces for the front and the back cover. Okay, 5 3/8 by 7 3/4, 1.5 by 7 3/4. That one's upside down. Okay, so now I've done a little bit of this for us because it's the easy part. Once you've cut the pieces, you take 2 pieces of cardstock. I use 65 pound, and you glue them together portrait wise, and then you glue these on, lining the center of the spine up with the center of the paper. Then you put these 2 on either side, and you leave about anywhere from 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch, depending on how thick and how gator mouth you're making your journal is. So there's a tool, which we'll be using in a minute. It's called a bookmaker's tool, and you can get it on Amazon. You can get it on Temu. They're pretty close to the same size, same price. This one looks like I might have done it a little close. That's a little close at the top. And this piece right here is for you to put down in between to measure how far apart. I think it's a little wide, so a lot of times I'll put it in there, line everything up to make sure it's straight, and then I will take the piece away and then move everything in just a little bit. All right, so now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to cut the corners, and that's where we use this. This notch here goes on the corner, and it'll give us our 45-degree angle. This part comes up over the cardboard. We just want to draw our line. We're going to do that on all 4 corners. Okay, and we're gonna put that tool away because we're done with it. Now we're gonna get our scissors out, and we're gonna cut these corners right off. Now I do just inside the line because I don't quite want it as pointy on the corner as the other, where the line is, makes it, where the tool puts it. You don't want to get too close though, because then the cardboard will stick out. But this is a good guide. You can go just inside the line. And just follow the line right across. This part is fairly straightforward, so I'm going to kind of go quickly. The topper and stuff isn't hard, but somehow I seem to make it take a bunch of time. I'm going to fold this up, kind of break the fibers of the paper a little bit so it knows that you're going to bend it, because we're going to wrap it around. And you can also do it by running your finger along the outside, and or both. Okay, we're going to open this back out. Not all the way, but just most of the way. Make sure you start out with a full glue bottle. And you're going to run your glue along the seam where the cardboard meets the paper. Generous amount, but not a crazy amount. You're going to go up this way, back down this way. Generous but not crazy, because this is going to hold our paper down. We definitely want it to be held down. And then give it enough glue to help hold the whole width of the paper down. If you've got a really big width, I cut a little bit off the top before I glued the cardboard on, because I'm just going to fold it up, stand it up, and slide it back. Maybe I should have cleaned the glue off of the glass surface. Anyway, what was I saying? I was in the middle of telling you something, and then I needed to stop to show you something, and now I forgot what I was telling you. Oh, you want enough to glue it down and hold it down. So we've got a little space here, and a little bit of glue seepage there. As long as it's not on the paper, you're fine. I put my phone in the living room this time. You still may be able to hear it, but it won't be really loud. Okay, I'm going to do this side. Of course, now I get hungry. I'm going to do the same here. And you're going to notice a little bit of that crinkly looking fold. Don't worry, we'll take care of that. Okay, and then you're going to get out your bone folder that looks like this. Now I've got dirt on this one, so I'm going to use this side. Use the end that's rounded almost to a point, but do not use the tippy tip end. And then right where the gap is, run your bone folder back and forth in there. And if you want to make sure that you're doing a good distance, you can use your bone folder as a guide when you're putting the boards in or the cardboard in. So I think I did this one too narrow. I don't think my bone folder is going to fit all the way down in there. And we do that to help train it to fold. Well, that worked out all right. Be careful you don't tear the paper. That's why we don't use the point. Okay. Now we're going to do these ends very quickly. Now my chipboard is lightweight chipboard, so I actually cut out 4 pieces and glued them together, so then I ended up with 2 pieces. So I glued 2 together and 2 together. All right. You can use cereal boxes if you double up the thickness. I've used gift boxes, like shirts you would give a gift of a shirt in, and you double up on that. Depending on how flimsy it is, you may have to triple up, so you're going to use like 3 boxes in the lids. So I'm not sure how cost effective that is, but in a pinch, which that's what my problem was, I needed one right then it will work. I'm going to have to go back and clean up some glue on some of this. If you have something like this where the point goes out further, then just make sure you've got glue down in there where that paper's going to fold over. I think I've got too much glue. So I'm going to have to clean up parts of this cover, like the spine area, but most of the rest of it's going to be covered, so you don't have to like spaz out over any glue or, you know, little glue balls or whatever that come along. Oh, I didn't put glue up here. No wonder it's not sticking. What was I thinking? First time I've done that one. First time for everything. Well, probably not the first time I've done it, but the first time I remember doing it on camera. There we go. Now, anything in here that's going to show, you're definitely going to want to clean up now. You're going to have papers on the inside, but they're not going to cover these outer edges. Don't you love how I lose track and then I jump back in? Wow. And then you're going to want to clean up the spine especially. And that little edge around. Now we'll be covering right along the seam, except of course I forgot to set aside paper to do that. So I will do that off camera between this week and next week when we bind, okay? Because it won't matter today whether I put the paper on or not, because we're not going to bind it till next week, and that's the spine, okay? So now we've got this. On the inside we have this, and we need to cover this area here. You want to measure a piece the height of the signatures, okay? You want to ink the top and the bottom because your papers are going to be here and they're going to be inked, so you want it to match. And then when you put it on, you want it to be an inch. Well, this is 1.5, 2.5, 3.5. So you want it to be an inch out on either side. This looks a little narrow, but that's all right. And then you want to glue it on, center it up, down, left, and right. And I inked both sides just in case, because you never know. You never know which side you're going to put the glue on. And you want to make sure to glue this really well in the center where it goes over the spine, because you don't want it to bubble up or pull up or anything when you close the book. You don't want it to arch up because the glue didn't stick in the center. Well, and you don't want the edges to pull up because it didn't stick on the edge. So, suffice it to say, this is one of the few things I slather up with glue. Because normally I say, it's just a piece of paper. Where do you think it's going to go? Why are you putting that much glue on it? But in this case, it is going to go somewhere, as in up. It will bubble up. Wow, I really got a lot of glue on there. I'm paranoid. I've had several covers where the center of the spine area, the actual spine area, bubbled up because it wasn't stuck completely. So now I'm paranoid. Oh, that really stinks now. As in an odor, not like a pain in the butt. Okay. The paper's going to overlap, but make sure you get the area where there's ink. Make sure there's no glue seepage. We're going to do the same thing we did here, only we're going to do it along the whole length. And you'll kind of hear it crinkle a little bit because you're telling it this is where we're going to fold you. and you're darn well gonna cooperate. Okay, don't use the point. I've accidentally torn covers before, papers before. You can paper over it, but it's darn inconvenient. Okay, now this is where you need to decide where the top and the bottom are going to be, and that will tell you the front and the back cover. Okay, so if I say this is the top, then that's going to make this the front cover. Course. There's something on there that's not coming off. Okay, so that's going to make this the front cover. I'm going to put a little F on this. I'm going to put the T up here for the top. And a B for the back. And a T up here for the top. Okay? All right. So we're going to open it back up. And we're going to get our inside cover papers. I've selected these green ones. And we're going to stencil the center, just the center, and then add the raccoons. So we're just going to go up and down the center of the paper. And I don't have a set amount. It doesn't necessarily have to be even. More even the better it looks, but I don't stress it. I've done it several times, and so I've got green ink on the stencil already. Forest green is what we're using as a reminder. Oh, and after next week, when we bind it, that's week 4, and that shows the event ending. But we've got an extra week, not a weekend, but an extra 5 days or whatever in there. So everyone is going to probably be doing flip-throughs of their project and uploading them to their YouTube channels. Now, there's no set days or anything, so you just kind of have to hang in there and check them. Or wait till the end of the week and check them, the 30th, you know, whatever way you want to go. But the flip-throughs are usually not very long. So you could flip through a few of the flip-throughs all at once. Okay. Now right now it doesn't matter left and right. And it actually won't matter left and right, but just top and bottom. We're going to be using that stencil again. No, we're not. No, we're not. Okay, so now we're going to get our little raccoons out. We're not going to be using the brush again either. Okay, and we're going to put them centered on the page. If they're a smidge off, it's okay because the journal's going to be in between. So you don't have to, you know, bust your brain measuring each one out exactly, unless that's the way you like to do it. I used to measure everything. Then for some reason I got out of that habit. And I've started eyeballing and lining stuff up with each other. You know, marking the height and the width. And I've already inked these. Okay. Oh, they're so cute. I mean, you don't want to be way off. Don't get me wrong. You do want to be in the center of the stencil. And you do want to be approximately halfway. The middle of the card, in the middle of the page, or the paper. You'll notice I'm doing this before I put it in the on the cover. So both of those are really cute. I've got some gears and things. These gears are way too big for these. I've got these little teeny tiny gears, but I don't think 1, 2, 3, 4 little gears on here. You know, I didn't put gears inside the signature because the pictures didn't really lend themselves to gluing gears on for some reason in my mind. And then also you're just going to glue these on in here. Oh no, I forgot to cut these down. Well, they're not going to be in the center now, are they? Oh, they will if I take part off the top and part off the bottom. I forgot to cut these down. Remember how much smaller the signatures are. Okay. And don't forget, this means you're going to have to ink it again, the top and the bottom. We're going to have to do the same thing with this one. It was kind of a rookie mistake, wasn't it? That's all right, though. Things happen. Talking to my counselor this morning, and we were going over when you get yourself all flustered and upset and start negative talking and to yourself, you know, calling yourself stupid and thinking the rest of the day is going to be messed up just because of this one small thing. And there's like a worksheet or whatever that I can practice with, and it was very helpful. I thought the session was very helpful. Yeah, that one's a little closer to the bottom. This one's a little closer to the bottom. They're both crooked the same way. That's all right with me. We are going to put a few gears on the front cover because it's the cover. Oh, goodness. There's a lot of glue. Okay. And line him up. Oh no, he's too wide. It's right up against the where the spine bends. Now the quandary is, do I fix the back one? Or do I put it on the same as this one so they look the same, like you did it on purpose? You see what I'm saying? So, let's see how bad it's going to be on this side. It's going to be too wide. So I'm going to have to fix it. Should have pulled that page. Waited for the glue to dry. I could have always come back and glued it in later. Check it. Now we're going to ink it. Yeah, see? Oh, and look how I glued it in. I was so worried about the other. I wasn't paying attention. Okay. This is where we're glad nothing got pulled. We're going to let the glue dry on this, then we're going to trim it down. Or I'm going to let the glue dry and then I'm going to trim it down. I'm going to take the glue eraser when this dries and get this glue off because it's going to show, right? And then I will fix it. Now, since we're fixing it, now discovered this one's too short. And it's still a smidge wide. And we haven't even got to the front cover yet. I'm going to split the difference on that so it's minimally noticeable. The width on that is fine, so let's ink it and we'll put it in. Our poor little raccoon is not in the center now, but we will live because you know what? Nobody's going to measure that or notice that except for us because it really isn't that far off. We are critical because we're the ones making it. So the key here is, just like in my therapy this morning, don't sweat the little stuff. It's not that important. It's not going to ruin your whole day. May ruin that moment, but the moment is fleeting. It just goes by. It's gone. Okay? See, here I am giving you guys therapy. Isn't that nice of me? You get 2 for 1. Teri-Craft. Sounds like one of those heat pads they put on you. Heat pad for when you're crafting. You can hear the iron-on my t-shirt crinkling. It's kind of making me crazy. Yeah, we're definitely going to go over an hour, that's for sure. Gee, I'm sorry. Okay. Now we're going to move on to the front. This is the front and the back. That's why I know that we are going to be over an hour. We have 15 minutes left. We're not going to get this done in 15 minutes. What we're going to do is We'll do the front cover. The back cover is going to be the same, except for there's not going to be the ephemera on it. It's just going to be this. It's going to have the cardboard or the chipboard and everything, but I'm going to use this one on this one. Put this on the back cover, or under the back cover, and we'll use this in the back as well, and the front. I'm glad I decided to do this quick and easy way. I hope everyone goes over. Not for bad reasons, but because they're putting on laces and whatnot. Then I won't feel so bad for going over. Actually, I don't feel bad. I've made hour and 45-minute videos. Oh, and I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to do that. Oh, it worked out all right. All right, we're going to have to trim this. And that's going to be our front cover. This is going to be our back cover. Thank goodness this is the small page. I think what I'll do is print out another page of this, and I'll use it on the spine. Looks like I got something on there. See, I put my phone in the living room so it wouldn't bother us, and then my medicine alarm went off. So now I have to remember to take my medicine after we're done. So I had to go in the living room to turn it off. Diet Coke. Diet Pepsi. Excuse me. So I'm going to measure this, and we're going to cut it to fit the cover, not to fit this exactly. Okay? Because it's going to be an actual border. So we're going to go in just a little bit so you see the cream color. It's kind of hard with these covers. You're going to want to put it down. You don't want to leave a big gap, but you do want to be able to see the cream color. You don't want to see a lot of the cream because you want to see the green. Okay. And I realize the background on this is white, but that's okay. It matches the backing of the paper. Huh. Oh, on the original picture I was going to use. It's cool. Everything's cool. You're going to go with the flow, baby. Something I didn't want to do. Probably shouldn't have done that with the cover either, because you know who would have thought somebody was at the front door. Okay, glue this on. You know what? First we're going to measure the other one. Yes, why don't we do that? Somebody we all know thinks it's time to go OUT, because when I take my medicine, he goes OUT. This way I don't have to measure it again, because we know the front and the back are the same size. Right. Okay, so that's all ready for the back cover. So we're going to glue this one directly to the cover. And then we're going to put a piece of chipboard in between this piece and the actual cover image to stand it up a little bit. You could use two. They're not that thick. Might be a little too much. Now, this is directional to me. Even though they're not clocks, they're like gears and pressure gauges and whatnot. That looks upside down. So we're going to take this piece of chipboard. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller than this image. You know what we're going to do first? Let's get this image done first. Okay, it's already been inked. I'm going to take a piece of chipboard. This is the ephemera piece that says Steampunk on it. And we're going to cut a piece a little bit smaller than the piece of ephemera. I forgot what I was doing. And I've already inked the piece of ephemera as well. You probably don't have to go so far as to mark it. Occasionally I do. See, it's going to be a little wide. So we're going to glue the chipboard on here. Let's double check the size. Okay. Oh, you know what I should have done? I should have put that triple thick on that. I'll come back in and do it later. Now I'm wondering, make some smaller gears. Yeah, I think those are going to work. Put them right there. And there's our 1 hour. And fabric tack will hold this metal on this paper. It will even hold the heavier gears on paper, as you will see here in just a moment. Okay. We got our cardboard on here. I want to glue this in this. Ooh, no, we're not. Now, I think the glue, well, what you do is you put the glue on here very carefully. Because we're not doing it all the way across, so we can't put the glue on the paper. Probably could have made that narrower. Okay. One row, a little dot. Doesn't seem like much, but it does make a difference. That's weird. I think I'm just going to do this. I'm going to glue this to the drywall paper, but instead of putting it face down so that I have a bunch of glue sticking through, I'm going to put it face up. Nailed it. Okay. And put some more glue. You know what's messing me up is that line of text is not straight across. I have glue all over my fingers. Can hardly touch anything. Okay, so it looks good. Now we'll put our cardboard, and we'll do the same thing on the back cover. We'll do the green, and we'll do the chipboard on the back of the paper, and then we'll put the paper on the green. That's what we're going to do here. And then I'm going to mark this here, but I know that I need to cut it just a little bit shorter. Then I may put a few of the gears, one size bigger than this, on him, but I really like, there's not enough places on here that I think it would look correct. These are more, these are not gears, these are more gauges, right? Like gauges, they're not gears. So I don't really want to do that. And I don't want to put just one here, because that would look silly. Of course, I am silly, but you know what I mean. The width is good, but I cut it a little long. It's not going to stick out. I mean, we can trim it back if it does, but it goes right to the edge, so it's, you know, it's close. Yeah, there's a little bit on the bottom here. In fact, I'm going to push it all down. I'll just cut whatever I need to off the bottom. This whole video is how to fix your mess ups, isn't it? I don't think a single thing has been the right size, has it? Well. Then we're going to put this on here. That's going to look neat. And we are going to put one thing on the image that's metal, other than those two little ones at the top. Oh, for goodness sakes. I have these big globs of glue on my fingers and I can't figure out what I'm doing. You want to try to stay on the cardboard. You don't want to accidentally glue the paper down onto the paper below, because that kind of defeats the purpose of having the chipboard lifted up for you. And we're putting it on the cover, so I'm leaving a little bit of extra glue on the corners so that I can kind of smear it around, move it around if I need to. Forgot to mention that's what I was doing on the other papers. And it's going to stick up a little bit, remember, because that's what you wanted. You don't want it to curl up. Make sure the chipboard is glued down. My chipboard is curved a little bit. It sat the wrong way and ended up getting a curve in it. So that's no good. So that's why I was making sure that everything was stuck down. Okay, now I think what he needs is a watch. So I've got these that look like clocks, but I don't know. Or we might just put a clock in the corner anyway. This has got a bird on it. We might just put that in the corner anyway. Now you see this big heavy metal piece. Now Fabri-Tac will hold that on. Oh, here's a clock. B. And it looks like a pocket watch. Okay, it's too big for it to be his pocket watch, but we don't care. We're in the land of the fantastical. You could have even used this, but I don't think it would have shown up enough. Now, a caveat on this. The Fabri-Tac, if you were to ship it and it was really cold, the glue may not hold. I had that happen. I had some acetate glued with Fabri-Tac on, and it had like a little arch to it, and yeah, and see, not all of this even touches. I'm just gonna have to smear it around and hope that some of it gushes out on the edge there. I'm gonna put some on the stem. A little bit on the B. Okay, you want to get 12 o'clock facing the right way. And then I wouldn't do too much with it. You know what? I think I am going to let it stick out over that. Okay. So that's going to be my cover. All right. Now remember, on the back, you're going to do the green, then the chipboard on the back of your paper that's your picture. Then glue that down. And then if you want any words or anything on it on the back, then you can. I usually don't put very much on the back unless it's super flat, because I like to be able to lay the book down. Okay, so this is going to be our cover. Well, I think that turned out nice. This is going to be the inside once the disaster gets fixed. Then next week we'll do the binding and put our signatures in and touch up any last little thing that we need to touch up or that we can touch up. Okay, I'm going to lay this out flat. Well, I think it'll be all right like that. There we go. And I'm going to say that's it for this video. And I will see you in the next video, which is next Monday. And don't forget that there's no freebie next week, because all you're doing is doing your binding. Okay? And that's going to be it for me. All right? Okay, well, we only went 20 minutes over, so that's not too bad. I will see you next week. Bye-bye.